We're now going to do page 2 of the practice exam, and I'm going to be careful about how I label my colors. So the first thing is we're going to do all of the sign of A stuff in red. And we're going to do all of the sign of B stuff in blue. So let's first start with the sign of A stuff. So I'm going to put my angle here like this. And if you'll notice to the right, whoops, and I already have that a little bit incorrect. So I'm going to put my angle here for the sign of A like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my SOHCAHTOA sheet here, and I'm going to turn it so that the triangles match. So what I need is I need the right angle on the top, and I need the angle that I'm looking at directly below it. So let's turn. Okay. So I'm going to look at this. I have the right angle on the top, and I have the angle on the bottom. So let's look at this bottom triangle. Oh, nope, nope, because angles on the top and right angles on the bottom. But if we look at the top triangle here, I've rotated it so that I have the right angle at the top. I have the angle that I'm trying to find at the bottom. And now what I'm going to do is I can actually label my trig values according to A on the right, O on the top, and H on the diagonal. So I'm going to do that right now. So that means this side will be the adjacent side, this side will be the opposite side, and this side will be the hypotenuse side. So again, if you look, I've matched both these things carefully. Top, top, bottom, bottom, unlabeled, unlabeled. So there we go. Now we have O, A, and H. So I want to get the sign of the angle. So using SOHCAHTOA, which says S-O-H, C-A-H, T-O-A. So we want to use that. So working with SOHCAHTOA, we know that the sign of A is going to be the opposite over the hypotenuse. We know the cosine is going to be the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And we know the tangent is going to be the opposite over the adjacent. Using these ideas here, the opposite is going to be 80. The hypotenuse is 89, so this is going to be 80 over 89. Next, for the cosine, it's going to be the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Using those numbers, that's going to be 39 over 89. And lastly, for the tangent of the angle, it's going to be opposite over the adjacent. That's going to be 80 over 39, like that. Now, next, we need to take a look at angle B right here. So now I've got to be a little bit careful. What I need is, I need to make sure that the angle I'm looking at is in the left-hand corner. The right angle is in the right-hand corner. And the angle at the bottom, now I know you can't necessarily do this, but I'm going to delete this angle here. And so we're going to take a look at the sheet here with the SOHCAHTOA written on it, and we're going to rotate. So now I've spun it around. Now notice, if I look at these two triangles here, this angle is on the left side in the triangle. The right angle is on the right, just as it is with this triangle here. And now I'm going to use my labels A, O, and H on this triangle right here. So I'm going to actually get rid of these letters, and I'm going to rename them. Renaming those letters, we're going to have A right here, O right here, and H right here. So the sine of b is going to be the opposite over the hypotenuse, and that's going to give us 39 over 89. The cosine of b, cosine, ca, adjacent over hypotenuse, is going to be 80 over 89. And lastly, tangent is going to be opposite over adjacent, so that's going to be 39 divided by 80. Perfect. And moving on to number 10. We are now going to solve for missing sides. And I have to be really careful. My angle is right here. And when I look at the sheet here, it doesn't match up. I need the angle at the bottom. So to do that, I'm going to need to rotate like this. Now, if we look, notice this top triangle has the angle at the bottom, the right angle at the top, the right angle at the top, and now I can work with my sides to that end. I'm just going to label my angle there like that, and we'll work. So this is the opposite side, this is the adjacent side, and this is the hypotenuse side. So let's get the missing sides. The first thing, I want to get A, and I have O. So if we use SOHCAHTOA to guide us, once again, I have O here. I want A. So I need something that has both O and A in it. Well, that's not going to work. Ka is not going to work, but TOA will. So now what we're going to say is that the tangent of 46 is going to equal the opposite over the adjacent. So that is that the tangent of 46 is going to equal 32 divided by A. And now to simplify, I'm going to multiply both sides by A because it's on the bottom. I need to get it on the top and get rid of it, so this cancels. So I'll rewrite this. Now I'm going to have A times the tangent of 46 equals 32. Now, I'm going to go ahead and actually plug the tangent of 46 into my calculator right now. So working that out to 3 decimal places, or 2 decimal places, sorry, A times 1.03 equals 32. And now I'm going to actually isolate A by dividing both sides by 1.03. And so that's going to give me a value of A, which I'll write here, of 31.1. Now, let's go ahead and use the sine to get the hypotenuse. So we're going to say the sine of 46 equals the opposite over the hypotenuse. Using a similar process, we're going to isolate H. So we're going to end up, and you know what? I just want to be safe. I don't want there to be confusion when you're looking at this later. So I'm going to rewrite this as the sine of 46 times H equals 32 over H, and I'm timesing this by H as well so that they cancel. And finally, we're going to get H equals, you'll need to do the algebra to prove this, 32 divided by the sine of 46. And so h is going to end up equaling about 44.5. Lastly, on this page, we're going to take a look at number 11. So I need to rotate my triangle to match. And when I look here, what I notice is neither of these triangles works. I need my angle in the lower right. I need my right angle in the upper right. And I need my unlabeled angle on the left. So let's see what we have. So it looks like this is the way to get it. If I notice, I have my right angle at the top. I have my trig angle that I'm using to calculate things on the bottom. And my unlabeled angle is on the left right here. Now I can label my triangle appropriately. This will be adjacent, this will be hypotenuse, and this will be opposite. So I'm going to do this one a little bit more quickly. So we're going to say here, I'm going to use SOHCAHTOA. So SOH gives me sine of 78 is going to equal the opposite over 13. I'll multiply both sides by 13. And so when I solve for O, I'm going to end up getting 13 times the sine of 78. And that's going to actually give me 12.7. Next, let's get the adjacent. So I'll use cosine. So the cosine of 78 is going to be the adjacent over the hypotenuse. That's going to be cosine of 78 equals A over 13. Now I'm going to multiply both sides by 13 to isolate A. And so when I do that, I'm going to get that A equals 13 times the cosine of 78. And that's going to give me 2.7. All right. So that is page 2 of your practice test, and I'll be working out the last page in the next few minutes.